Hello everyone, my name is Shreyas Kashava and I'm part of AYCS. This is the Java course. You can already go to our channel and access the Python course if you also want to go check that out. And today we're going to be talking about what comments are, what print statements are, and how to write variables. So let's go ahead and get started. So, how to think about Java? Well, learning Java is like building a bunch of Lego blocks, and I'm sure you did this in your childhood. And when you add each block to any contraption or structure that you're making that structure more complex. And this might scare you, but I promise you, Java is not as complex as you think. And even if you see a lot of code, that doesn't mean that the actual output will be something as complex. And that's something called abstraction, where if you have a lot of complex things that you can't really see, but you only see a simple thing, that's what abstraction is. It's just that complex things. And I hope to guide you in this course. So what is Java? Java is a popular language that enables developers to create a wide range of applications. I personally do not really like definitions, but to break it down shortly, Java is something that many people use, and it can do a variety of tasks to your pleasing. So, how to start your Java journey? Well, you can use any Java compiler. This is what I would recommend because it is one of the most simplest and it's very flexible and easy to use. It's called JDoodle. I'll put the link down in the description if you can't really access it through your browser. But you can just search up JDoodle and access it there. So I already have it opened up right here. So I'll just go right here. And I'm just going to give you some pointers. So over here is the canvas. Over here is where you're going to write your code and execute is over here. So let's go ahead and start with the first piece of code that you'll be writing. With any code that you want to write, you always want to start with having a class. And you can name your class whatever you want, but the standard is that you name your class with whatever the file name is. In this case, I named the file like this whole thing that I generated, but I'll just call it public class main because it's a main class. And we'll talk about different types of classes and what they do and stuff like that in a later video. So this is how you want to start. You want to have your public class main. Next, you want to have a method. In this case, you want to have public static void main string args. And this method is basically the starting point for your program. That's what the actual compiler will actually take in. It will say that, oh, this is where you are actually starting your code. And this is where Java will start to begin to run your code. And just to give you a few basic definitions, public just means that anyone can access this method. I already explained your classes, and then static is just something that belongs to the class. Void basically doesn't return anything. And we'll talk about all this in a later video. But for now, all you need to know is that these are the first two lines that you will need in any sort of name or form to start your code. So after we've made our public class, and after we have made our starting method, next, we can add a print statement. And a way to write the print statement is system. Make sure you have the capitals. This is, it's very important. If you don't, it might not work for every single compiler. System.out.print. We'll start with print. And let's just do hello world. Or hello world. And some compilers say that you have to do this, some compilers don't, but a common courtesy is to always include a semicolon And as you can see here, I was trying to do that. It had some issues, but some compilers don't really care as much. Depends on the compiler. JDoodle is a little bit sensitive, so you want to make sure you add that semicolon. And when I click execute right here, it will read it, and it will print hello world. So you've just wrote your first line of code that has been executed by Java, which is a pretty big achievement. And if we want to do a bunch of lines, we can just click enter and then do system.out.print my name is Shreyas. Right, my name is Shreyas. And you can add a semicolon again, execute, and it will print that. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I don't want my words to be like this, where you have like this little issue where you want to have a space or you want to indent it. So that's when the ln comes in. So if we wanted to have hello world and then my name is Shreyas on the second indentation line, what we can do is we can have system.out.println right here. So what this will do is this will say, oh, okay, so you want to print hello world, and then you want the next print to be on the next line of indentation. So it will first print hello world, and then it will go to the next line, and then it will print my name is Shreyas. And to test this, we can click execute. And there you go. You see it has hello world, and then we indented and have on the next line, my name is Shreyas. So that's just a simple way to write certain things on your code. And next, let's talk about variables. Okay, so basically a basic definition I'll give you of variables is they are used to store pieces of information. And there's different types of variables. So I guess I can keep this. There's different types of variables. I don't know what this is. Anyways, there is an int variable. I call it var name or var num in this case, and you can have it equal to any type of number. We'll just say 67, right? And this basically signifies that the var num has to have an int type. There are three types: int, boolean, and string. Boolean, I'll just give you an example here. If you have boolean, boolean, and we'll call var decision. Yeah, var deck. That's cool enough. And if I do this, if I just run it right now, it will give me an error and say that incorrect type, because a boolean is not a int, and it instead is a decision, which is like true or false. And the last one is a string. Alright, these are the three main ones. There's some other types that you can use. We'll talk about it in later videos when necessary. A string is basically a bunch of words or a bunch of text, like letters. So I could have instead of var deck, I'll do var name, right? And then I can put my name or your name or whoever name. I'll put Shreyas. And if I execute this, it won't show it on here because all that I'm doing is I'm just storing my string text into this variable. Now, if I wanted to print this text, or if I wanted to print this text, what I could do is I could just say system.out.print, and instead of saying this name, I could just put var name, and then I have the semicolon. Never forget your semicolon, guys. It's a very important thing. Click execute. We'll do it, and okay, yeah, I forgot to click that ln right over here. I'll just do that. Sorry, this is active debugging. There we go. That's slightly better indentation. So you can do that for anything. I can change this right now to int. And just to show you, if you do this where you have an int type and you have a string, this is what's going to happen. It will give me an error saying incompatible types, because whenever you have a certain type, you do not want to have a different type on the other side, or you don't want to set the variable to a different type. So you always want to have the same type. So we can put, if you put 67, then what will happen is this. It should just print all of these correctly, and it does. So, yeah. And the final thing I wanted to just touch on real quickly is comments. So comments are just used for other people to maybe look at your code and interpret certain lines of code as they traverse through whether you make a game or a certain task or anything. So to make a comment in Python, usually you would use hashtag, but in Java we use slash, and this signifies a comment. So if it's just a single line comment, you would use a slash. If it is a multi-line comment, you'll have a slash and an asterisk. So I can just put slash first lines of code. And Java will not interpret this at all. This is just for your liking, to make your code more simplistic, I guess. And yeah, this is a great way for your code to be more accessible. So just in summary, we talked about what a class is, and how to write some print statements, and the types of variables, 3 main types of variables, and we talked about how to write comments. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.